Hey class, let's continue with object-oriented programming in Java. So in this video, you will be learning how to design a class using something called class diagram. Then you'll be learning how to define a class in Java. So I'm going to show you how we can code a Java class. Okay, so last video we use the example class circle. Okay, so now if you take a look at this diagram, the class circle can be designed using like a box. Okay, like so, this box. So this box can be divided into three parts. On the top, you specify the name of the class, circle, and followed by, in the middle, we have data fields or variables. Okay, so like a radius. Here, the name of the data field, radius, followed by a colon, and then the type. So here we just give double as the type of radius. At the bottom here we have methods and constructors like circle. The first one is a constructor that takes no parameter. The second one is another version of constructor which takes one parameter. That's just the new radius. I'm gonna show you the differences between the two constructors, and you can see the formal parameters like same as the variables here. The name of the parameter comes first, followed by a colon and then the type. Okay, so a get area is the method. You can see here its return value type is double. Okay, so here double refers to the return value type. And get parameter, the same thing, its return value type is double. And set radius, its return type is void, so it needs nothing to be returned, but it takes a parameter. So if you want to change the radius of a circle, you just pass a new radius to it. Okay, so this is something called a class diagram, and this is just one single class. A class diagram can be more complex, so you can have multiple classes, and you can use different relationships to model the different notations to model the different relationships between among classes. But in this class, in this course, it's enough for you to know how to draw a class diagram with one single class, like so. So within this class, any class here in a class diagram, you use a rectangle or a box and divide it into three parts. On the top, you specify the name of the class. In the middle portion, you specify the data fields, and at the bottom, you specify the constructors and methods. Okay, so next, let's do an exercise altogether. So we're gonna, design a new class for, let's say, named rectangle. Okay, let me pull out my OneNote. And I'll move myself a little bit. Okay, so think about it. Oh, one more word. So a class diagram can be used to design a class. So why do we need design? You guys remember how to design an algorithm? So ever since the first week of the class, we learned how to use pseudocode or flowchart to design an algorithm. Okay, so your design work can be done to like pave like the road. Oh, excuse me. Okay. To pave the road for implementation. So before you dive into writing code to implement something, particularly when it involves complex or complicated algorithms, you want to lay out the steps taken to solve that problem. Okay, so similar here. We want to lay out the main components of a class. Okay, so just to use, but to represent a class like in a graphic manner. Okay, so again, here we want to use example rectangle. We need to think about what data fields we would like to have within a rectangle, and what methods, what behaviors we want to have within a class rectangle. We can follow the example of circle to design the class rectangle. Okay, so first of all, we need to draw like a box or a rectangle, and this box needs to be divided into 3 compartments. The one on the top, you want to make it smaller because that's where you only need to specify the class name. Okay, so the class we are designing is called rectangle, so we simply just put the name of it, rectangle. By the way, the naming convention for class, you usually capitalize the first letter. It's unlike a variable name or a method name. The first letter is in lowercase, right? But when you name a class, you're recommended to capitalize the first letter. Okay, so that's the first compartment, followed by the next subbox here. We want to have what? We want to have data fields or variables. Okay. See if we can make it larger. Yes. Now I'll ask you to think about what data fields do we need to have in order to capture a rectangle. You can follow the example of a circle. Yes, we can have its width, its height. Okay, that's width. That's the name of the data field, and usually we also give like type. So what type do you want for its width? Let's do double. Okay, so the first letter is automatically capitalized. I don't like it. So that's width, and also we need its height, double. Can you make it larger? Yes. That is those are the data fields. Okay, so of course, again, if you need more data fields, you can always add into this field. Okay, that's the second part. Okay, the part at the bottom, that's where we specify methods, including constructors. Okay, so we want to have like let's see, 2 constructors. The first constructor that takes no parameter. Now, if you let me switch back to the example here. So the constructor you can see here, circle. The name of the constructor is exactly the same as the class name. Okay, so now when you see a method whose name is exactly the same as the class, you know it is a constructor. Okay, that's a very outstanding feature you can use to distinguish like a constructor from a normal method. Okay, so let's get back to our exercise. And here we want the first constructor, the default one, we want rectangle, that takes no parameter. Okay, that's the first. We also want another version of constructor. This time, we allow user to pass in, to pass in their desired width and height when they try to create an object. So we can do width. Okay, don't forget to specify its type, double, and height, also double. Okay, those are the two constructors. Next, let's try to add some methods. So to describe like behaviors. So for a rectangle, what can we get? So we can, let's see, get its area, same as the method in class circle. You can calculate the area of a circle, right? So this here we want to get the area of a rectangle with the return value tab should also be double. Giving double width and height, its area should be double, and we can also get its perimeter. So since like to get its area and get its perimeter, we don't need to pass anything, right? So it's just don't just return, just get its value. Okay, but we need to get a return value, right? But we don't need to pass anything into it. So sometimes we want to change its width. So in that case, we may want to have a method like set width. This time we need to pass a new width with type of double, and set width. Do we need to return anything from it? We may, but later I'll show you what we might return from this method. But for now, let's just make it a void to return nothing. Similarly, we can set height, which takes formal parameter new height, and which also returns nothing. Okay, in addition to set to change the new value, we may also want get width. So sometimes we want to just return for a particular rectangle, I want to see what is your width. That this method can be called. Similarly, we can have get height. Double. Okay, so this is like the UML class diagram for designing the class rectangle. Okay, so in the assignment, you will be doing the same thing for another class. Okay, so I'll let you know what class you need to design using the class diagram. Okay, so now, after we have designed the class, let's see how can we implement, how can we translate the design in the class diagram into Java code, into Java implementation. How about we stop here for this video. We're gonna continue with translating the class diagram to Java code in next one.